A rebellious prisoner or the last queen? When Serena Meyer refused to bond with the king who massacred her homeland, the entire kingdom awaited her execution. But an ancient buried truth transformed her from a condemned prisoner into the empire's only hope. Stay until the end to see how she turned adversity into power. Hit like and comment what city you're watching from. The chains were too tight. Serena Meyer had stopped noticing most things after 3 weeks in the dark. The cold, the hunger, the way her wrists had gone numb where the iron bit into flesh. But the chains, those she felt. Every step toward the throne room dragged iron across stone, a sound like bones breaking slowly. 2 guards flanked her, their hands rough on her shoulders. She didn't fight. There was no point. Her people were gone. Her home was ash. Fighting now would just make the end messier. The throne room doors swung open. Light hit her face like a slap. She blinked against it, her eyes watering after so long underground. When her vision cleared, she saw them, hundreds of faces, all turned toward her. Nobles in silk, warriors in ceremonial armor, elders with silver fur and eyes that had seen centuries. Every single one of them looking at her like she was already dead. At the center of it all, on a throne carved from blackwood and bone, sat Kylor Virex, the Alpha King, the man who had burned her world. He was younger than she'd imagined, mid-30s maybe, dark hair pulled back, jaw sharp enough to cut glass. His eyes were pale gray, the kind of gray that looked through you instead of at you. He wore no crown. He didn't need one. Power radiated off him like heat off a forge. Serena's stomach twisted. "Closer," one of the guards muttered, shoving her forward. She stumbled, but caught herself. The chains rattled. Every eye in the room tracked the sound. Kylor didn't move. He just watched her, his expression unreadable. Serena Meyer. His voice was low, steady. It filled the room without effort. Daughter of the Meyer clan, last survivor of the Eastern Rebellion. She said nothing. "Do you know why you're here?" She lifted her chin. "To be executed." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Kylor's expression didn't change. "That's one option," he said. Serena's jaw tightened. She'd heard stories about this moment. Prisoners brought before the Alpha King. Some begged. Some screamed. Some offered themselves in exchange for mercy that never came. She would do none of those things. "There's another option," Kylor continued. He leaned forward slightly, elbows on his knees. "You bond with me, willingly, publicly, in front of this court." The room went silent. Serena stared at him. For a moment she thought she'd misheard. "You bond with me," he repeated, slower this time. "And your people, the ones still alive in the camps, go free. They get land, resources, protection. They rebuild." Her heart slammed against her ribs. "You refuse," Kylor said, his tone still calm, still measured, "and you die here, today. And your people die in those camps." Slowly. The nobles shifted. A few exchanged glances. One of the elders near the throne frowned but said nothing. Serena's mind raced. There were still survivors? She'd thought, she'd been told. How many? Her voice came out hoarse. 237, Kylor said. Mostly women, children. A handful of men too old or too young to fight. 237. Out of thousands. Her hands shook. She clenched them into fists, felt the chains pull taut. "So," Kylor said, leaning back, "what's your answer?" Every instinct screamed at her to refuse, to spit in his face, to tell him exactly what he could do with his offer. But 237 people, her people. She opened her mouth. "No." The word came out flat, final. The room erupted. Nobles gasped, warriors straightened. One of the elders actually stood, his face going pale. Kylor's eyes narrowed. "No?" he repeated. "No," Serena said again, louder this time. She took a step forward, chains dragging. "You want me to bond with you? The man who burned my home, who slaughtered my family, who left my people to rot?" Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "You think offering me scraps makes this noble? You think I'm so desperate I'll crawl to you and call it mercy?" "Serena," one of the guards started. "I'd rather die," she snarled, rounding on Kylor. I'd rather die 1,000 times than pretend for 1 second that what you did was anything other than butchery. Kaler's expression went cold. Then you'll get your wish. He nodded to the guards. They moved fast. One grabbed her by the hair, yanking her head back. The other drew a blade, short, sharp, designed for efficiency. Serena didn't scream. She locked eyes with Kaler and smiled. Go ahead, she whispered. Prove me right. The blade lifted, and then the room exploded. Not literally, but it felt like it. One of the elders, a woman with white hair and a face like weathered stone, let out a sound somewhere between a gasp and a sob. She dropped to her knees so fast it had to hurt. Stop, she choked out. Stop, you can't. The blade froze. Kaler's head snapped toward her. Elder Mirren? But Mirren wasn't looking at him. She was staring at Serena, her eyes wide, her hands trembling. The scent, she whispered. I should have. Why didn't I? Another elder stepped forward, his nostrils flaring. His face went slack. Ancestors, he breathed. What is it? Kaler's voice was sharp now, edged with something Serena couldn't place. Mirren looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. She carries the old blood. The room went dead silent. Kaler stood slowly. What? The firstborn line, Mirren said, her voice shaking. The healers. The binders. I can smell it on her. It's faint, buried under grief and rage. But it's there. Her voice broke. She's the last one. Serena's heart stopped. That's not possible, one of the nobles said. The firstborn line died out centuries ago. Clearly it didn't. Mirren pushed herself to her feet, her gaze never leaving Serena. She's the only one who can stop it. Stop what? Serena's voice came out small. Mirren turned to Kaler. The plague. The one killing our people. The one we've been hiding from the outer territories. Serena's blood turned to ice. What plague? Kaler's jaw worked. For the first time since she'd entered the room, he looked uncertain. There's a sickness spreading through the pack lines, he said finally. It started 3 months ago. It targets shifters specifically, locks them between forms, destroys their ability to shift, kills them slowly. We've lost over 100, Mirren added quietly, including children. Serena's mind spun. And you think I can, what, cure it? The old blood has always been tied to balance, Mirren said, to the bond between human and wolf. If anyone can stop this, it's someone with your lineage. I don't even know what my lineage is, Serena shot back. My parents never… She stopped. Her mother's words, whispered on a night years ago. We're different, Serena. Our blood runs deeper than most. Don't ever let them know. She'd thought it was just a story, a way to make a child feel special. No, she said, shaking her head. No, I'm not. I can't. You're the only hope we have, Mirren said. Kaler stepped down from the throne. He moved toward her slowly, carefully, like she was a wild animal that might bolt. Serena, he said, his voice low, I know what I'm asking. I know what I've done. But if there's even a chance you can save those children, don't! She jerked back, the chains clinking. Don't you dare use children to manipulate me. It's not manipulation, Kaler said. It's the truth. The truth? Serena laughed, the sound bitter. The truth is, you're a murderer. The truth is you destroyed everything I loved. And now you want me to save your people? Not just my people, Kaler said quietly. Your people too. The ones in the camps. The plague doesn't care about borders. If it spreads, let it spread, Serena spat. Let it burn through this entire kingdom. Maybe then you'll understand what it feels like to lose everything. The room went silent again. Kaler's expression hardened. Take her to the guest wing. Serena blinked. What? She's not a prisoner anymore, Kaler said, his tone flat. She's a guest. Give her a room, food, access to the archives. Let her see the sick. You can't be serious, one of the nobles protested. I'm very serious. Kaler's gaze didn't leave Serena. She'll help us, one way or another. I won't, Serena said. We'll see. He turned and walked back to the throne, his posture rigid. The guards hesitated, then began unlocking her chains. Serena's wrists were raw beneath the iron. She rubbed them absently, her mind racing. This didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Move, one of the guards muttered. They led her out of the throne room down a series of corridors that blurred together. Stone gave way to polished wood. Torches gave way to windows. The air smelled cleaner here, less like blood and smoke. They stopped in front of a heavy wooden door. "This is yours," the guard said. He didn't sound happy about it. Serena stepped inside. The room was nice. Too nice. A bed with actual blankets. A window overlooking gardens she didn't care about. A desk stocked with paper and ink. The door closed behind her. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the bed. Then she sat down on the floor and put her head in her hands. 237 people. A plague killing children. A bloodline she didn't understand. And a man who'd burned her world asking her to save his. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. She wanted to break something. Instead, she just sat there, breathing slowly, trying to figure out what the hell she was supposed to do now. The next morning, someone knocked on the door. Serena was awake. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw fire. "What?" she called. The door opened. A young woman stepped in, mid-20s, dark skin, short hair, dressed in simple leathers. She carried a tray of food. "Breakfast," she said. Serena didn't move. "I'm not hungry." "You should eat anyway." The woman set the tray on the desk. "You look like hell." "Thanks." The woman studied her for a moment, then held out a hand. "I'm Lyra. I've been assigned to assist you." "You mean watch me," Serena said. "That too." Lyra smiled faintly. "But mostly assist. The king wants you to have access to the archives, and to see the sick." Serena's stomach turned. "I don't want to see anyone." "Tough." Lyra crossed her arms. "You're here, you're alive, and whether you like it or not, people are counting on you." "I never asked for that." "None of us ask for most things," Lyra said quietly. "Doesn't mean we get to ignore them." Serena looked away. After a moment, Lyra sighed. "Look, I know you hate him. I know what he did to your people. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you to forgive him because that's not my place." "Then what are you going to tell me?" "That there are kids dying in the medical wing right now," Lyra said. "And they don't care about politics. They don't care about your grief or his guilt. They just want to stop hurting." Serena's throat tightened. "Eat," Lyra said. "Then get dressed. We're going to the archives." She left before Serena could argue. Serena stared at the tray. Bread, cheese, some kind of stew that actually smelled good. She hated that it smelled good. She hated all of this. But she ate anyway. The archives were underground, carved into the bedrock beneath the palace. Lyra led her down a spiral staircase that seemed to go on forever, then through a series of heavy doors guarded by warriors who looked at Serena like she might explode at any moment. "Ignore them," Lyra muttered. The final door opened into a massive chamber lined with shelves, books, scrolls, tablets. Some of them looked older than the kingdom itself. "This is everything we have on the old blood," Lyra said, gesturing to a section near the back. "The firstborn line, their gifts, their history." Serena approached slowly. The books were dusty. Half of them were falling apart. She pulled one down carefully, opened it. The writing was old, formal, hard to read. But the meaning was clear. The firstborn were healers and binders, chosen by the first wolves to walk upright. Their blood carried the essence of balance between human and beast, between pack and territory, between life and death. Without them, the packs fell to chaos. With them, the packs thrived. Serena flipped through more pages. There were diagrams, rituals, warnings. The blood is both gift and curse. To wield it without bonding is to invite madness. The firstborn must bind themselves to an alpha, or the power will consume them. Her hands tightened on the book. "Did you know about this?" she asked quietly. Lyra hesitated. "Some of it. The elders don't talk about the old blood much. It's complicated." "Why?" "Because the last known firstborn died 300 years ago," Lyra said, "and her death almost destroyed the entire kingdom." Serena looked up sharply. Lyra met her gaze. "She refused to bond, said the alphas of her time were corrupt, tried to heal the packs on her own. The power ate her alive." Killed her and everyone within 100 miles. Serena's blood ran cold. So if I try to help without bonding, you'll probably die, Lyra said bluntly, and take half the kingdom with you. Serena set the book down, her hands shaking. Why didn't anyone tell me this yesterday? Would it have changed your answer? Lyra asked. Serena didn't respond, because the answer was no. Even knowing this, even understanding the risk, she still wouldn't bond with Kaelor. Not after what he'd done. Come on, Lyra said quietly. There's something else you need to see. The medical wing smelled like sickness and fear. Serena could feel it the moment they stepped inside, a wrongness in the air, thick and cloying. It made her skin crawl. Lyra led her past rows of beds. Most were occupied. Warriors, elders, teenagers, and children. Serena stopped in front of one bed. A little girl, maybe 7 years old. Her skin was pale, slick with sweat. Her body kept shifting, fingers elongating into claws, then snapping back. Teeth growing sharp, then dulling, eyes flickering between human brown and wolf gold. She was whimpering. Her name is Elara, Lyra said softly. She's been like this for 2 weeks. Serena's chest tightened. Can she hear me? Sometimes, when she's more human than wolf. Serena knelt beside the bed. Up close, she could see the exhaustion in the girl's face. The pain. Hey, Serena whispered. The girl's eyes flickered. For a moment, they settled on Brown. It hurts, she whispered back. I know. Are you going to fix me? Serena's throat closed. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to promise this child that everything would be okay. But she didn't know if she could. I'm going to try, she said finally. The girl smiled faintly. Then her eyes went gold again, and she cried out, her body convulsing. Serena stumbled back. A healer rushed over, murmuring something soothing, pressing a cool cloth to the girl's forehead. Lyra touched Serena's shoulder. Come on. They left the medical wing in silence. Serena felt numb, hollowed out. There are 43 more like her, Lyra said quietly. And that's just here. In the outer territories, there are probably hundreds we don't even know about. Serena pressed her palms to her eyes. I don't know how to help them. Then figure it out, Lyra said, because if you don't, they're all going to die. That night, Serena didn't sleep again. She sat at the desk in her room, surrounded by books she'd taken from the archives. She read until her eyes burned, read until the words blurred together, the old blood, the firstborn, the bond. Every text said the same thing. Without an alpha bond, the power was unstable, dangerous. But with a bond, she slammed the book shut. No, there had to be another way. A knock at the door made her jump. What? She called. The door opened. Kaelor stood in the hallway. Serena's entire body went rigid. What do you want? She said coldly. To talk. We have nothing to talk about. I disagree. He stepped inside without invitation. Serena shot to her feet. Get out. Not yet. He closed the door behind him. You saw the medical wing. It wasn't a question. So? So you know what's at stake, Kaelor said. You know what happens if we don't stop this. I know what you say happens, Serena shot back. I also know you're a liar. Kaelor's jaw tightened. I've never lied to you. You told me my people were dead. I told you most of them were dead, Kaelor corrected. And they are. Because you killed them. Yes. His voice was flat, final. I did. Serena stared at him. She'd expected excuses, justification, some twisted logic about duty or necessity. Not that. Your people rebelled, Kaelor continued, his tone still calm. They killed 2 of my generals, burned 3 villages, declared war. Because you were oppressing us, Serena shouted. I was enforcing the law, Kaelor said. The same law that keeps this kingdom from tearing itself apart. Your law. Your kingdom. Yes. He stepped closer. Mine. And I will do whatever it takes to protect it. Even murder children? Kaelor's expression flickered. For just a second, she saw something. Guilt, maybe, or regret. Then it was gone. There were no children in that final battle, he said quietly. I made sure of that. How noble, Serena spat. I'm not asking you to think I'm noble, Kaylor said. I'm asking you to help me save lives. Why should I? Because you're better than me. Serena blinked. Kaylor held her gaze. You stood in front of that court and chose death over compromise. You could have saved yourself. You didn't, because you have principles. And you don't? I have priorities, Kaylor said. And right now my priority is keeping my people alive. All of them, including the ones who hate me. He moved toward the door. Think about it, he said. Think about what you're willing to sacrifice, and what you're not. He left. Serena stood there, shaking. She hated him. She hated him so much it felt like a living thing inside her chest. But he was right about one thing. She was better than him, which meant she couldn't let those children die, even if saving them meant working with the man who'd destroyed her life. The next morning, Serena made a decision. She found Lyra in the training yard, sparring with another warrior. I need to see the king, Serena said. Lyra stopped mid-swing. Seriously? Seriously. Lyra studied her for a long moment, then nodded. 10 minutes later, Serena was back in the throne room. This time, it was nearly empty. Just Kaylor, 2 guards, and Elder Mirren. Kaylor looked up as she entered. Serena. I'll help, she said without preamble. His expression didn't change. And the bond? No bond, Serena said firmly. I'll study the texts. I'll work with your healers. I'll try everything in my power to stop this plague. But I won't bond with you. You'll die, Mirren said quietly. Maybe, Serena said, but that's my choice to make. Kaylor was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. All right, he said. No bond. For now. Forever, Serena corrected. We'll see. She wanted to argue, but she was too tired. I need access, she said instead, to everything, the sick, the archives, the outer territories if necessary. Done. And I need your people to stay out of my way. Kaylor's lips twitched. I'll do my best. Serena turned to leave. Serena, Kaylor called. She stopped. Thank you. She didn't look back. Don't thank me yet, she said. I might not be able to save any of them. You'll try, Kaylor said. That's more than I deserve. Serena left before he could say anything else, because he was right. It was more than he deserved. But those children, Elara, and all the others like her, they deserved every chance she could give them, even if it killed her. The first patient Serena tried to help died screaming. His name had been Torin, 23 years old, a warrior who'd collapsed mid-shift 2 weeks ago and never fully returned to either form. By the time Serena reached him, his body was a mess of contradictions. Human torso, wolf legs, hands that kept sprouting claws and retracting them like a heartbeat. She'd spent 6 hours with him, reading every text she could find, trying techniques the ancient firstborn had used, laying her hands on his chest and pushing her power outward the way the books described. Nothing worked. At hour 7, his heart gave out. Serena had stood there, hands still pressed to his ribs, feeling the exact moment the life left him. The wrongness in his body just stopped, went still, like a fire burning itself out. The healers had pulled her away gently. Lyra had tried to say something comforting. Serena had walked back to her room and vomited until there was nothing left. That had been 4 days ago. Since then, she'd tried to help 6 more patients. 3 were stable, barely. Their symptoms had slowed but not stopped. 2 showed no improvement at all. And 1, a girl named Mira, 16 years old, had gotten worse. Serena sat in the archives now, surrounded by books she'd read so many times the words were starting to blur together. Her eyes burned, her head pounded. She couldn't remember the last time she'd eaten a full meal. You look like death. She didn't look up. Thanks, Lyra. Lyra dropped into the chair across from her, setting down 2 mugs. Tea. Drink. I'm busy. You're killing yourself. Lyra pushed 1 mug closer. Which won't help anyone. Serena finally looked up. Lyra's expression was serious, but not unkind. Torin died because I didn't know what I was doing, Serena said quietly. Torin died because he was sick, Lyra corrected. You didn't make him sick. You tried to save him. Trying isn't enough. It's all any of us can do. Lyra leaned back. You know what the healers were doing before you showed up? Watching people die. That's it. At least now there's a chance. Serena wrapped her hands around the mug. It was warm. The heat felt good against her cold fingers. The books all say the same thing, she said. The power needs a conduit, a bond. Without it, I'm just flailing. So bond with him. Serena's jaw tightened. No. Why not? Because I hate him. Hate doesn't stop magic from working, Lyra pointed out. It stops me from wanting to, Serena shot back. Lyra was quiet for a moment, then she sighed. You know he's been asking about you. Who? The king. Every day. Wants to know how you're doing, if you need anything. Serena's stomach twisted. I don't want anything from him. Even if it saves lives? That's not fair. None of this is fair, Lyra said. But it's real, and those people in the medical wing don't care about your pride. Serena flinched. Lyra's expression softened. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm trying to help you see clearly. I see fine. Do you? Lyra stood. Because from where I'm sitting, you're so focused on hating Kalor that you're willing to let people die rather than admit you might need him. That's not, isn't it? Lyra picked up her mug. Think about it. She left. Serena sat there, hands shaking around the tea. She wanted to argue, wanted to say Lyra was wrong, but she couldn't, because deep down, in a place she didn't want to look at, she knew the truth. The bond would work. The books were clear. Every firstborn who'd successfully healed had been bonded to an alpha, which meant the only thing standing between those patients and a cure was her. Her pride, her hatred, her refusal to let go. She set the mug down hard enough that tea sloshed over the rim. Then she grabbed her coat and headed for the door. She found Kalor in the training yard, sparring with one of his commanders. Even from a distance, she could see the difference in their skill levels. The commander was good, fast, precise, clearly trained. Kalor was better. He moved like water. Every strike flowed into the next. Every dodge was economy itself. There was no wasted motion, no hesitation. It made her furious. She waited until they broke apart, both breathing hard. I need to talk to you, she called. Kalor looked over. Sweat dripped down his temple. Serena. Now. The commander glanced between them, then wisely retreated. Kalor grabbed a towel, wiping his face. What is it? The outer territories, Serena said. I need to go there. He frowned. Why? Because the plague started somewhere, and if I can find the source, maybe I can figure out how to stop it. The healers have already investigated. The healers aren't firstborn, Serena interrupted. I might see something they missed. Kalor studied her. This is dangerous. The outer territories are unstable right now, packs turning on each other, resources running thin. I don't care. You should. Are you going to stop me? Serena challenged. Kalor's expression was unreadable. Then he sighed. No, but I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. It's not negotiable, Kalor said. You go, I go. Those are the terms. Serena's hands clenched. I don't want you anywhere near me. Then you'll have to stay here. They stared at each other. Serena wanted to scream, wanted to tell him exactly where he could shove his protection. But she needed this, needed to find answers. Fine, she bit out, but you stay out of my way. I'll do my best. Kalor tossed the towel aside. We leave at dawn. They left with a small group, Kalor, Serena, Lyra, and 3 warriors whose names Serena didn't bother learning. The ride took most of the day, heading east through forests that grew darker and denser the farther they went. Serena rode in silence, her mind churning. She kept thinking about what Lyra had said, about pride, about need, about whether she was really doing this for the right reasons. You're quiet, Kalor said. He'd ridden up beside her without her noticing. She shot him a look. I don't have anything to say to you. You never do. He sounded almost amused. Is that funny to you? No, Kalor said. Just familiar. My father was the same way. Serena didn't respond. He hated talking, Kalor continued, like she'd asked. Thought words were weakness. Actions were all that mattered. Sounds like you took after him. In some ways, Kaylor's expression darkened. In others, I tried very hard not to. Despite herself, Serena was curious. What do you mean? He believed in absolute control, Kaylor said. No mercy, no compromise. If a pack stepped out of line, you crushed them. If a territory rebelled, you burned it. Serena's chest tightened. And you don't? I believe in consequences, Kaylor said quietly. But I don't enjoy them. You could have fooled me. Kaylor looked at her. You think I wanted to destroy your home? Didn't you? No. His voice was flat. I wanted your leaders to stand down, to negotiate. I gave them 3 chances. Liar. I'm not lying, Kaylor said. Ask anyone who was there. I sent envoys, offered terms. Your leaders refused every time. Because your terms were surrender. Yes, Kaylor said. Because they'd already killed 2 of my people and declared war. What did you expect me to do? Let them keep going? Serena's hands tightened on the reins. You could have found another way. If there'd been another way, I would have taken it. She wanted to argue, wanted to call him a liar again. But something in his tone stopped her. He wasn't defending himself, wasn't trying to justify. He was just stating facts. I don't believe you, she said finally. I know, Kaylor said, but it's still true. He rode ahead before she could respond. Serena sat there, frustration boiling in her chest. She didn't want to see him as anything other than a monster. Didn't want to consider that maybe, just maybe, things were more complicated than she'd thought. Because if they were, then her hatred became harder to hold on to. And hatred was all she had left. They reached the first village just before nightfall. It was smaller than Serena expected. Maybe 30 buildings, all clustered around a central square. The people who came out to greet them looked tired, wary. Your Majesty, one of the elders said, bowing, we weren't expecting you. I'm here to investigate the plague, Kaylor said. This is Serena Meyer. She's a healer. The elder's eyes widened. A firstborn? Yes. Murmurs rippled through the small crowd that had gathered. Serena stepped forward. I need to see anyone who's been affected, and I need to know where it started. The elder hesitated. Most of the sick have already, passed, but there are a few still holding on. Show me. They were led to a building on the edge of the village. Inside, the air was thick with the same wrongness Serena had felt in the palace medical wing. But here, it was stronger, more concentrated. 3 people lay on makeshift beds, all of them stuck between forms, all of them barely breathing. Serena knelt beside the closest one, a man in his 40s. His skin was gray, his breathing shallow. She placed her hands on his chest, closed her eyes, and reached for her power. Came easier than before, like a muscle she was learning to use. She pushed it outward, feeling for the sickness. It was there, a dark, twisted thing wrapped around his bones. But when she tried to grab it, pull it out, it slipped through her fingers like smoke. She tried again and again. Nothing. After 10 minutes, she pulled back, breathing hard. I can't, she whispered. The elder's face fell. But you're firstborn. I know. Serena stood, her legs shaking. But it's not enough. She turned to Kaylor. Where did it start? The first case? A hunting party, the elder said, 3 months ago. They went into the deep woods, came back sick. Show me where. The woods were darker than any place Serena had ever seen. The trees grew so thick that barely any light filtered through. The air felt heavy, oppressive. Even the sounds were wrong, too quiet, like the forest itself was holding its breath. This is where they went, the elder said, pointing to a narrow path. We found them 2 days later, barely alive. Serena stepped onto the path. Immediately her skin prickled. The wrongness here was overwhelming, like stepping into a pool of ice water. Something happened here, she said. Kaylor moved beside her, his hand on his sword. Can you tell what? Not yet. They walked deeper. The path twisted and turned. Serena kept her senses open, feeling for anything unusual. Then she saw it. A clearing, maybe 20 feet across. The ground was blackened, scorched, but not by fire, by something else. What is this? Lyra whispered. Serena knelt, touching the ground. The moment her fingers made contact, a jolt of power shot up her arm. She gasped, jerking back. Serena? Kaylor's voice was sharp. There's magic here, she said. Old magic. And it's wrong. Wrong how? Corrupted. Serena stood, her hand still tingling. Someone did this on purpose. The group went silent. You're saying this plague was created? Kaylor said slowly. I'm saying it was released, Serena corrected. Whatever was here, it wasn't natural. Someone brought it, unleashed it. Who would do that? I don't know. Serena looked at him. But whoever it was wanted to hurt your people. Kaylor's expression went cold. We need to get back to the palace. Now. They rode through the night, pushing the horses hard. By the time they reached the palace, dawn was breaking. Kaylor immediately called a council meeting. Serena stood in the corner of the room, exhausted, while nobles and warriors filed in. She recognized a few faces from her first day here. Most still looked at her like she was a threat. What's this about? One of the nobles asked. The plague, Kaylor said. It's not natural. Someone created it. The room erupted. That's impossible. Who would... How do you know? Serena found evidence. Kaylor cut through the noise. In the outer territories, the site where the first victims were infected. All eyes turned to her. Serena straightened. There's residual magic at the location. Dark magic. Someone performed a ritual there. That doesn't prove anything, one of the warriors said. It proves enough, Kaylor said. Someone is targeting my people, and I want to know who. This could be an excuse, another noble spoke up. A way for the Meyer girl to deflect blame. Serena's blood went cold. Excuse me? Your people hated us, the noble continued. Maybe this is revenge. My people are dead, Serena said, her voice shaking. Thanks to him, she pointed at Kaylor. Exactly, the noble said. Motive. I was in chains when this started, Serena shot back. Or did you forget that part? Enough, Kaylor said. Serena had nothing to do with this. How can you be sure, the noble pressed. Because I know her, Kaylor said. The room went quiet. Serena stared at him. You've been here less than a week, the noble said. You don't know anything about her. I know she refused to bond with me even when it meant saving her people, Kaylor said. I know she's spent every day since trying to help patients she has no reason to care about, and I know she's risking her life doing it. He turned to face the room. Serena Meyer is not the enemy, he said, and anyone who says otherwise will answer to me. The silence stretched. Then, slowly, the nobles began to murmur among themselves. Serena felt like she couldn't breathe. Kaylor had just defended her, publicly, in front of his entire court. Why? Before she could process it, Elder Myrene stood. If the plague was created, then we need to find who did it, she said, before they strike again. Agreed, Kaylor said. I want patrols doubled, investigators sent to every territory. And I want someone watching the palace. You think the traitor is here? One of the warriors asked. I think we can't afford to assume they're not. The meeting dissolved into planning. Serena slipped out before anyone could stop her. She made it halfway down the corridor before Kaylor caught up. Serena, why did you do that? She said, rounding on him. Do what? Defend me, in front of everyone. Kaylor studied her. Because it was the truth. You don't know me. I know enough. Serena's hand shook. She didn't know if it was from exhaustion or anger or something else entirely. I still hate you, she said. I know, Kaylor said quietly. I'm never going to forgive you. I know that too. Then why? Because you're trying to save my people, Kaylor interrupted, and that matters more than what you feel about me. Serena stared at him. For the first time since she'd arrived, she saw past the king, past the conqueror. She saw someone just as tired as she was, just as burdened. She hated that she saw it. I need to get back to work, she said. You need to sleep. I'm fine. You're not. Kaylor stepped closer. You've been pushing yourself too hard. If you collapse, you can't help anyone. Don't pretend you care about me. I care about keeping you alive, Kaylor said. There's a difference. Serena wanted to argue, but she was so tired. 6 hours, Kaylor said. Sleep for 6 hours. Then you can go back to the archives. 4. 5. Deal. She turned and walked away before she could change her mind. Serena slept for 7 hours and woke up feeling like she'd been hit by a cart. When she dragged herself to the archives, Lyra was waiting. "You look slightly less dead," Lyra said. "Thanks. The king sent these." Lyra gestured to a stack of books. "From his private collection. He thought they might help." Serena frowned. "Why would he have books on firstborn magic?" "His mother was a scholar," Lyra said. "Collected everything she could find on old bloodlines." Serena picked up the top book. It was older than anything she'd seen so far. The pages were brittle, the ink faded, but it was readable. She dove in. Hours passed, the sun moved across the sky. Lara brought food at some point. Serena ate without tasting it. Then she found something. A passage near the back of the book. A warning. Beware the unbound. Those who carry firstborn blood without the anchor of an alpha bond are vulnerable to corruption. The power seeks balance. Without it, darkness seeps in. The unbound become vessels for forces they cannot control. Serena's blood turned to ice. She flipped forward. There was more. Signs of corruption, nightmares, visions, loss of time, compulsions to harm. If left unchecked, the unbound will become something other than human, something hungry. Her hand shook. She'd had nightmares. Every night since she'd started using her power. And yesterday, in the clearing, she'd felt something. A pull. A whisper in the back of her mind urging her to touch the corrupted magic. To take it into herself. She'd ignored it. But what if she couldn't next time? "Lyra," she said, her voice hoarse. Lyra looked up from where she'd been reading. "What?" "Get Kaelor." "Why?" "Just do it." Lyra must have heard something in her tone. She left without argument. Kaelor arrived 10 minutes later. "What's wrong?" he asked. Serena handed him the book. "Read this." He did. His expression darkened with every line. "This is about you," he said. "Yes." "You're already experiencing symptoms." It wasn't a question. Serena nodded. Kaelor set the book down carefully. "Then we bond. Now." "No." "Serena, I said no." She stood. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," Kaelor said. "You read the same passage I did. Without a bond, you'll lose yourself." "I'd rather lose myself than bind to you," Serena said. "Even if it means becoming the thing that kills everyone?" Kaelor's voice was hard. "Because that's what this passage says. Unbound firstborn don't just die. They turn. They become monsters." Serena flinched. "You think I want this?" Kaelor continued. "You think I enjoy forcing you? Then don't." "I don't have a choice." Kaelor's control finally cracked. "You're the only hope those people have. And if you turn into something dark because you're too stubborn to accept help, their blood will be on both our hands." "Don't put that on me," Serena said, her voice shaking. "It's already on you," Kaelor said. "Just like the blood of my people is on me." "We both carry weight, Serena. The difference is, I'm willing to do what it takes to lighten it." She wanted to scream at him, wanted to tell him he was wrong, but she couldn't, because he was right. If she turned, if she became corrupted, she wouldn't just fail to save anyone. She'd become another threat, another monster for Kaelor to put down. "I need time," she whispered. "We don't have time," Kaelor said. "Then make time." Serena's voice broke. "I have given up everything, my home, my family, my freedom. Don't take the last piece of myself, too." Kaelor's expression softened. "The bond doesn't erase who you are." "Yes, it does," Serena said. "It ties me to you. Forever, I become yours." "No," Kaelor said quietly. "You become mine, and I become yours. It goes both ways." Serena looked up sharply. "An alpha bond isn't ownership," Kaelor said. "It's partnership. I would feel your pain, your grief, your rage, all of it." "Good," Serena said bitterly. "Maybe then you'd understand what you did." "Maybe I would," Kaelor agreed. They stared at each other. 3 days, Serena said finally. Give me 3 days to find another solution. If I can't, I'll consider the bond. Consider? That's the best I can offer. Kaylor looked like he wanted to argue. Then he nodded. 3 days, he said. But if you show any more signs of corruption, the deal is off. Serena swallowed hard. Agreed. She spent the next 2 days in the archives, barely sleeping, barely eating. She read every book on firstborn magic she could find. Tried every technique, every ritual, every possible alternative. Nothing worked. On the 3rd day, she went back to the medical wing. Elara, the little girl from before, was worse. Her body had almost stopped shifting entirely. She was locked somewhere in between, her face twisted in pain even while unconscious. Serena knelt beside her bed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She placed her hands on the girl's chest and pushed her power out one more time. The darkness was there, stronger than before. Serena could feel it eating away at the girl from the inside. She tried to grab it, tried to pull it free. It latched onto her instead. Serena gasped as something cold and wrong slithered up her arms. It felt like ice in her veins, like hunger. She tried to pull back. The darkness held on. "Take it," a voice whispered in her mind. "Take it all. Make it yours." "No," Serena said out loud. "You're strong enough. You don't need him. Just take the power. Save her yourself." "Get out of my head." "You know you want to." Serena screamed. The darkness released her. She fell backward, gasping. Her hands were shaking. Her vision blurred. Lyra was suddenly there, grabbing her shoulders. "Serena? Serena, look at me." Serena forced her eyes to focus. "What happened?" Lyra demanded. "It tried to take me," Serena whispered. "The corruption. It tried to—" She couldn't finish. Lyra's face went pale. "I'm getting Kaylor." "No." But Lyra was already gone. Serena sat there, her back against the wall, trying to breathe. The voice was still there. Quieter now, but not gone. Waiting. Kaylor arrived minutes later. He took one look at her and his expression went hard. "What happened?" "I tried to heal her," Serena said. The darkness fought back. "Are you hurt?" "No." Kaylor knelt in front of her, his eyes scanning her face. "Serena, look at me." She did. "We're out of time," he said. "I know. If we don't bond now, you're going to lose yourself." Serena's throat tightened. She looked past him, at Elara's bed, at the little girl who was dying because Serena wasn't strong enough, at all the people she couldn't save. "Will it work?" she asked quietly. "The bond. Will it really let me heal them?" "Yes," Kaylor said. "You can't promise that." "I can promise that you'll have a real chance," Kaylor said, "which is more than you have now." Serena closed her eyes. She thought about her parents, about her home, about everything she'd lost. Then she thought about Elara, about Torin, about all the people dying because someone had unleashed this plague. She opened her eyes. "Okay," she said. Kaylor went still. "Okay?" "Okay," Serena repeated. "I'll bond with you." Kaylor's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Relief, maybe, or doubt. "You're sure?" he asked. Serena's hands were still shaking. "No, but I'm out of options." "That's not a good reason?" "It's the only one I have." She pushed herself to her feet, ignoring the way her legs wobbled. "So let's get this over with before I change my mind." Kaylor stood as well. For a moment he just looked at her, then he nodded. "The bonding requires a ritual," he said, "and witnesses. The council will need to—" "I don't care about the council," Serena interrupted. "Just tell me what I have to do." "It's not that simple. Nothing ever is with you people." She crossed her arms. "How long does it take?" "An hour, maybe 2. Kaylor glanced at Elara's still form. "But we need to prepare, and you need to understand what you're agreeing to." "I read the books. I know." "Reading isn't the same as experiencing," Kaylor said quietly. "When we bond, you'll feel everything I feel, every memory, every regret. You'll see the things I've done through my eyes." Serena's stomach turned. "Will you see mine?" "Yes." She looked away. The thought of Kaylor inside her head, seeing her grief, her pain, the moment she watched her home burn, It made her want to vomit. But Elara was dying, and so were dozens of others. "Fine," she said. "When?" "Tonight, after sundown." Kaylor moved toward the door, then paused. "Serena, if you're going to back out, do it now. Once we start, there's no stopping." "I'm not backing out." He held her gaze for a long moment. Then he left. Serena sank back down beside Elara's bed. The little girl's breathing was so shallow now. Each breath seemed like it might be her last. "I'm trying," Serena whispered. "I swear I'm trying." Elara didn't respond. Couldn't respond. Serena stayed there until Lara came to collect her. The ritual chamber was beneath the palace, carved into bedrock. Serena had never been this deep before. The air was cool and still, heavy with the weight of stone and history. Torches lined the walls, casting flickering shadows across ancient carvings, symbols she didn't recognize. Figures caught mid-transformation, half human and half wolf. At the center of the room stood a circular platform, raised slightly above the floor. Runes were carved into its surface, filled with some kind of silver metal that caught the light. Elder Mirren was already there, along with 3 other elders Serena didn't know. They wore ceremonial robes, deep blue with silver threading. Kaylor stood at the edge of the platform, dressed simply in black. No crown, no armor. Just him. He looked tired. Serena approached slowly. Her heart was hammering so hard she thought everyone could probably hear it. "Are you ready?" Mirren asked gently. "Does it matter?" Serena replied. "Not really." Mirren's expression was kind. "But I have to ask anyway." She gestured to the platform. "Both of you, please." Serena stepped up. The moment her feet touched the runes, she felt a pulse of energy. Not unpleasant, but strange, like the stone itself was alive. Kaylor took his place across from her. They were maybe 3 feet apart. "Join hands," Mirren instructed. Serena's jaw tightened. She looked at Kaylor's hands, strong, scarred, the hands that had ordered her people's deaths. She wanted to refuse. Instead, she reached out. The moment their skin made contact, she felt it, a jolt that went straight to her core. Not painful, just intense. Kaylor's fingers closed around hers. His grip was warm, steady. "The bonding ritual is ancient," Mirren began, her voice echoing in the chamber. "Older than this kingdom, older than the written word. It binds 2 souls together, Alpha and Firstborn, strength and healing, violence and mercy." She moved around the platform, trailing her fingers along the runes. They began to glow, soft silver light spreading outward. "The bond cannot be broken," Mirren continued. "Not by distance, not by time, not even by death. What is joined here will remain joined." Serena's throat went dry. "Do you, Kaylor Virex, Alpha King of the Northern Territories, accept this bond freely?" "I do," Kaylor said. "Do you swear to protect, to honor, to bear the weight of this connection until your last breath?" "I swear." Mirren turned to Serena. "Do you, Serena Meyer, last of the firstborn line, accept this bond freely?" The word freely almost made her laugh. There was nothing free about this. But she said, "I do." "Do you swear to heal, to guide, to bear the weight of this connection until your last breath?" "I swear." The light from the runes intensified. Serena felt heat spreading up her arms, into her chest. It wasn't painful, not yet, but it was building. Mirren raised her hands. "Then let the bond be forged." She began chanting in a language Serena didn't understand. The other elders joined in, their voices layering over each other in complex harmonies. The heat in Serena's chest grew stronger. She gasped, her grip on Kaylor's hands tightening. He squeezed back. "Don't fight it," he said quietly. "Let it in." "Easy for you to say," she gritted out. "It's not, but fighting makes it worse." The chanting grew louder, the light brighter. Serena felt something inside her crack open, like a door she'd been holding shut suddenly wrenched from her grasp. And then Kaylor was there. Not physically, but in her mind. His presence flooded in, overwhelming, all-encompassing. She felt his thoughts, his emotions, his memories crashing against her own. She saw herself through his eyes. The moment she'd been dragged into the throne room. How small she'd looked. How fierce. She felt his surprise when she'd refused him, his grudging respect, his guilt. It hit her like a physical blow. The weight of every decision he'd ever made, every life he'd taken, every order he'd given, including the one that destroyed her home. She saw that day from his perspective. Saw him standing on a ridge, watching the fires burn, saw the tension in his jaw, the way his hands had clenched, saw the moment he'd turned away, unable to watch anymore. He'd hated it, every second of it, but he'd done it anyway. Serena wanted to pull back, to shut him out, but she couldn't. The bond was pulling them closer, deeper. And then she felt his horror as her memories opened to him. Her mother's scream as their house collapsed. Her father's last words choked out through blood. The smell of smoke and burning flesh. The moment she'd been dragged from the ruins, the only survivor of her immediate family. Kaylor made a sound, low, wounded. She felt his grief crash into her. Not performative, not political, real. He hadn't known, hadn't understood the scope of what he'd done until this moment, and it was destroying him. The bond pulled tighter, their consciousnesses tangling together, until Serena couldn't tell where she ended and he began. She felt his strength, his determination, the crushing weight of responsibility he carried every single day. She felt her own rage, her grief, the desperate, aching loneliness she'd been drowning in since the moment she'd lost everything. And beneath it all, she felt the power. The old blood, dormant for so long, roaring to life. It surged through her veins like wildfire, bright and terrible and pure. But this time, it had somewhere to go. The bond caught it, channeled it, stabilized it. Kaylor's strength met her power and held it, contained it, made it something she could actually use instead of something that would consume her. The light exploded outward. Serena screamed. Then everything went dark. She woke up on the floor of the chamber. Her entire body ached. Her head felt like it had been split open and badly reassembled. "Don't move," Lyra's voice said from somewhere nearby. Serena ignored her and tried to sit up. The world spun violently. She would have fallen if hands hadn't caught her shoulders. Kaylor's hands. She looked up. He was kneeling beside her, his face pale, his eyes different, still gray, but now she could see flecks of gold in them. Her gold. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Like I got trampled by a horse," Serena managed. "That's normal." Marin appeared in her line of sight. "The first hours are always the hardest. Your minds are still adjusting to each other." Serena became aware of something else, a presence in the back of her mind. Quiet, but there. Kaylor. She could feel him. Not his thoughts. Those were still his own. But his emotions. His state of being. Right now he was worried and exhausted. And something else she couldn't quite name. "It worked," she said. "Yes," Marin said. "The bond is complete." Serena looked at her hands. They looked the same. But she could feel the difference. The power that had been wild and dangerous before was still there. But now it was leashed, controlled, usable. "I need to go to the medical wing," she said. "You need to rest," Kaylor said. "People are dying." "And you'll be useless to them if you collapse," Kaylor countered. "Rest first. Heal them tomorrow." Serena wanted to argue, but the bond was feeding her his exhaustion along with her own, and she could barely keep her eyes open. 4 hours, she said. 6. 5. Deal. Lyra helped her to her feet. Kaylor stood as well, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. "Thank you," he said quietly. Serena looked away. "Don't. I didn't do this for you." "I know." She let Lyra guide her out of the chamber. She woke up exactly 5 hours later, feeling marginally more human. The presence in her mind was still there. She was starting to get used to it. Could feel Kaylor somewhere in the palace, awake and working. She wondered if he could feel her too. The answer came immediately, not in words but in a pulse of awareness. Yes. Serena's stomach flipped. This was going to take some getting used to. She got dressed and headed for the medical wing. It was still early, barely dawn, but the healers were already at work. She went straight to Elara's bed. The little girl looked worse than before. Her breathing was so shallow Serena had to watch carefully to see her chest rise and fall. I'm here, Serena whispered. I'm here, and I'm going to help you. She placed her hands on Elara's chest and reached for her power. It came instantly, bright and fierce and controlled. She pushed it into the girl, feeling for the sickness. There, the same dark, twisted mass she'd encountered before. This time, when she reached for it, her power didn't slip through. It grabbed hold. The darkness fought back. Serena gritted her teeth and pulled harder. Through the bond, she felt Kaelor's attention shift to her. Felt his strength flowing through the connection, bolstering her own. She pulled. The darkness shrieked, not with sound, but with feeling. Then it tore free. Serena gasped as it came loose, dissolving under the onslaught of her power. She didn't absorb it this time, didn't let it touch her. She burned it away. It took maybe 3 minutes. When it was done, she pulled back, breathing hard. Elara's body shuddered. Then slowly, her features began to shift. The wrong angles smoothed out. The trapped half-transformation released. Within seconds, she was fully human again. Her eyes fluttered open. "Mama?" she whispered. One of the healers let out a sob and rushed forward. Serena stepped back, her legs shaking. It had worked. It had actually worked. She moved to the next bed, then the next, working her way through every patient in the wing. Some took minutes, some took longer, but by the time the sun was fully up, every single person was healed. Word spread fast. By midday, the palace was in an uproar. Nobles came to see for themselves. Warriors who'd been skeptical now looked at her with something approaching awe. Serena hated it. She retreated to her room as soon as she could, locking the door behind her. The bond hummed with Kaelor's satisfaction, his relief. She tried to ignore it. A knock came an hour later. "Go away," she called. "It's me," Lyra said. Serena sighed and opened the door. Lyra stepped in, looking worried. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "Liar." Lyra sat on the bed. "You just saved 43 people, and you look like you want to crawl into a hole." "I don't want their gratitude," Serena said. "I didn't do it for them." "Then who did you do it for?" "For me." Serena leaned against the wall. "Because I couldn't live with myself if I let them die. That's all." Lyra studied her. "The bond is messing with your head, isn't it?" "What gave it away?" "The fact that you keep touching your chest like something hurts," Lyra said. "And the way you look at Kaelor when you think no one's watching." Serena's face heated. "I don't—" "You do," Lyra said gently. "And it's okay. The bond is intense, everyone knows that. I still hate him." "Do you?" Serena opened her mouth to say yes, but the word wouldn't come. Because the truth was, she didn't know anymore. She'd felt his grief, his regret, his genuine horror at what he'd done to her people. It didn't erase what he'd done, but it made him human, and that was somehow worse than thinking of him as a monster. "I don't want to feel this," she whispered. "I know," Lyra said, "but you do. So you might as well figure out what to do with it." "What?" That night, Kaelor summoned her to his study. Serena went reluctantly, the bond pulling her forward even as every instinct told her to run. He was standing by the window when she entered, looking out over the city. "You wanted to see me," she said. "I wanted to thank you," Kaelor said, turning, "for what you did today." "You already thanked me." "I mean for agreeing to the bond." He stepped closer. "I know what it cost you. You have no idea what it cost me." "Actually," Kaelor said quietly, "I do. I felt it. During the bonding. Every moment of pain, every loss." Serena's throat tightened. "I'm sorry," Kaelor said. "For what that's worth. I'm sorry for what I did to your people. To you. Sorry doesn't bring them back." "No, it doesn't." He held her gaze. "But I mean it anyway." Serena looked away. She could feel his sincerity through the bond, could feel that he wasn't just saying what she wanted to hear. He meant it, and she hated that it mattered. "Is that all?" she asked. "No." Kaelor moved back to his desk, pulling out a map. "We need to talk about the plague. You healed the patients here, but there are more in the outer territories. Hundreds, probably." "I know. I want to send you out, with an escort, to heal as many as you can." Serena frowned. "Why tell me? You're the king. Just order me to go." Because you're not my prisoner anymore, Kaelor said. And I'm asking, not ordering. The distinction shouldn't have mattered, but it did. Fine, she said. I'll go. When? 2 days. We need to organize supplies and... A guard burst through the door. Kaelor's expression went hard. What is it? Attack, Your Majesty, on the eastern border. A large force, corrupted wolves. Serena's blood ran cold. Corrupted? Like the plague victims, the guard said, his face pale. But worse, they're not stuck between forms. They're changed, twisted. Kaelor was already moving, grabbing his sword from where it hung on the wall. How many? At least 50, maybe more. Mobilize the warriors. They're asking for her, the guard interrupted, looking at Serena. Everyone went still. What? Serena said. The corrupted. They're chanting her name, demanding she come to them. Through the bond, she felt Kaelor's fury. Like hell. It's a trap, Serena said. Obviously. Doesn't matter, the guard said. They've taken hostages, 20 villagers. They're threatening to kill them if she doesn't come. Serena's stomach dropped. No, Kaelor said immediately. Absolutely not. We'll send warriors, and they'll kill the hostages, Serena interrupted. Then we'll negotiate with corrupted wolves? Serena looked at him. You think that'll work? Kaelor's jaw worked. Through the bond, she felt his conflict, his fear, not for the kingdom, for her. I have to go, Serena said quietly. You're not going alone. I wasn't planning to. She looked at the guard. Where are they? The northern woods, about 2 hours' ride. Serena nodded. Get horses ready and warriors. As many as you can spare. The guard hesitated, looking at Kaelor. Kaelor stared at Serena. Then, slowly, he nodded. Do it, he said. And get me a horse, too. Kamat. They rode hard. A force of 30 warriors plus Kaelor and Serena. Lyra was there too, her face grim. The sun was setting by the time they reached the northern woods. Serena felt the wrongness before she saw anything. The same corrupted energy from the clearing, but amplified, stronger. They're close, she said. Kaelor raised a hand. The group slowed. Ahead, through the trees, Serena saw movement, shapes that weren't quite right. The corrupted wolves emerged into view. Serena's breath caught. They looked like someone had taken regular shifters and broken them, then put them back together wrong. Some had too many limbs. Some had faces that were more beast than human. All of them had eyes that glowed with sickly green light. And in the center of the pack, bound and kneeling, were the hostages. A figure stepped forward from the corrupted wolves. Human-shaped, but wrong. His skin was too pale, his movements too fluid. Serena Meyer, he said. His voice sounded like two people talking at once. We've been waiting for you. Let the hostages go, Serena called back. Soon, the figure said. First, you're going to do something for us. What? Come closer, he said. Join us. Embrace the gift we offer. Serena's skin crawled. The plague isn't a gift, isn't it? The figure tilted his head. It frees us, makes us stronger. No more pretending to be civilized, no more denying our true nature. You're not stronger, Serena said. You're dying. Then cure us, the figure said. You have the power now, we can feel it. The bond you forged. Through the connection, Serena felt Kaelor's growing alarm. How do you know about that? Kaelor demanded. We know everything, the figure said. The one who made us knows everything. Serena's heart stopped. Who made you? The figure smiled. It was horrible. The one who sits at your king's right hand, the one you trust. He laughed. The one who's been planning this for years. You're lying, Kaelor said. Am I? The figure gestured, and one of the corrupted wolves dragged forward a bound man, human, terrified. Serena recognized him. He was one of the counselors, one of the people who'd been in that first meeting. Tell them, the figure said. The counselor's face was gray with fear. I didn't know, he choked out. I swear I didn't know what he was planning. Who? Kaelor's voice was deadly quiet. Counselor Thane, the man gasped. He's been working with someone powerful. They're going to... One of the corrupted wolves snapped the man's neck before he could finish. The hostages screamed. Serena felt sick. Thane, Kaelor said. The name came out flat, empty. Through the bond, Serena felt his shock, his betrayal. Thane had been with him for 10 years. His closest advisor. His friend. He's at the palace right now, the figure said. Waiting. When you get back, if you get back, he'll strike. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. We'll see about that, Kaelor said. He turned to his warriors. Back to the palace. Now. The hostages, Serena said, are already dead, the figure said. We just haven't told them yet. The corrupted wolves moved forward. Kaelor's hand went to his sword. Protect the hostages. Kill everything else. The battle erupted. Serena had never seen anything like it. The warriors fought with desperate fury, trying to reach the hostages. The corrupted wolves were fast, vicious, and they didn't seem to feel pain. Serena pushed her power outward, trying to help. But there were too many, and they were too far gone. She couldn't heal corruption this advanced, not from a distance. She'd have to touch them. Serena, don't, Kaelor's voice in her mind, urgent through the bond. She ignored him and ran forward. The first corrupted wolf lunged at her. She grabbed its head with both hands and pushed her power in. The corruption fought back, shrieking, but she was stronger now. She burned it away. The wolf collapsed, shifting back to human form. Dead, but clean. She moved to the next, and the next. Behind her she heard Kaelor roaring orders, heard the clash of steel on flesh. She reached the hostages. A warrior had cut them free, was trying to get them to safety. One of the corrupted wolves broke through the line, heading straight for them. Serena threw herself in its path. It hit her like a battering ram. They went down in a tangle of limbs. She felt claws tear into her shoulder, felt teeth snap near her throat. She grabbed its face and burned. The corruption was stronger in this one. Older. It took longer to kill. By the time it finally died, Serena was bleeding badly. She struggled to her feet, vision blurring. Through the bond, she felt Kaelor's panic, felt him fighting to reach her. The corrupted leader stepped forward, smiling. You're weakening, he said. Good. That makes this easier. He moved faster than should have been possible. Serena tried to dodge, wasn't fast enough. His hand closed around her throat, lifting her off the ground. The one who made us wants you alive, he said. But he didn't say you had to be unbroken. Serena clawed at his hand, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Then Kaelor was there. He hit the corrupted leader like a storm. They went down together, rolling across the ground. Serena fell, gasping for air. She saw Kaelor and the leader locked in combat, saw Kaelor's sword flash, saw the leader's hand shoot out, fingers elongating into claws, saw those claws punch through Kaelor's chest. No, Serena screamed. The world went white. Power exploded out of her, raw, uncontrolled, everything she'd been holding back. It radiated outward in a wave that flattened trees and sent bodies flying. Every corrupted wolf within 100 feet collapsed. The corruption burned out of them in an instant, including the leader. Serena crawled to Kaelor. He was on his back, blood spreading across his shirt. No, 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 she chanted, pressing her hands to the wound. Don't you dare die! Don't you dare! She pushed her power into him. It was harder than with the wolves. The wound was deep, had punctured a lung. But she could feel his heart still beating, could feel him through the bond, fading but not gone. She burned brighter, pouring everything she had into keeping him alive. The wound began to close, slowly, too slowly. Serena, Lyra was beside her. We have to go. More are coming. I can't move him yet. You have to. I said I can't. Serena's voice broke. Through the bond, she felt Kaelor's consciousness surface for a moment. Go, he whispered, the word barely audible. Leave me. Save yourself. Shut up, Serena said. I didn't bond with you just to let you die. She felt his surprise, his weak amusement. Then he passed out. The wound was mostly closed now, enough to move him. Get him on a horse, Serena ordered. The warriors obeyed, lifting Kaelor carefully. Serena stood, swaying. The world tilted. She'd used too much power, pushed too hard. Lyra caught her before she fell. I've got you, Lyra said. They rode back to the palace at a dead run, hostages saved, half the corrupted force destroyed. But as they crossed through the gates, Serena felt it, the trap closing. Thane was waiting, and he wasn't alone. The palace courtyard was full of armed men, not palace guards, mercenaries by the look of them, maybe 40 strong, positioned at every entrance, every corridor leading deeper into the palace. And standing at the center, calm as death, was Counselor Thane. He was older than Kaelor by maybe 15 years, silver threading through his dark hair. He'd always looked grandfatherly to Serena, the kind of man you'd trust to give wise advice over tea. Now he just looked cold. "Your Majesty," Thane called out as the warriors rode in. His eyes flicked to Kaelor's unconscious form draped across his horse. "I see the corrupted wolves were more successful than I anticipated." Lyra's grip on Serena tightened. "Get ready to run," she whispered. "I'm not running," Serena said. "Then get ready to fight." The warriors around them were already spreading out, hands on weapons. But they were exhausted from the battle, wounded, and outnumbered. Serena slid off her horse, her legs nearly giving out. She was drained, barely able to stand, but she forced herself upright. "Thane," she said. Her voice came out stronger than she felt. "Let us through." "I'm afraid I can't do that." Thane smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "You've become a problem, Serena Meyer. An unexpected one, I'll admit. When I engineered your capture, I thought you'd either die in the dungeons or refuse the bond and be executed." Serena's blood ran cold. "You engineered my capture?" "Of course." Thane clasped his hands behind his back. "Your people's rebellion was convenient, but it needed a push. A few whispered suggestions in the right ears. A few inflammatory incidents staged to look like attacks." You started the war," Serena breathed. "I accelerated it," Thane corrected. "Your people were always going to rebel. I just gave them the motivation to do it stupidly." Rage flooded through Serena, so hot she could barely see. "Why?" "Because I needed the Alpha King distracted," Thane said. "Focused on external threats while I worked on internal ones. And I needed firstborn blood." He tilted his head. "I'd hoped to extract it from your corpse. But this works too." "The plague," Lyra said. "You created it." "With help, yes." Thane gestured, and another figure stepped out from the shadows of the palace entrance. Serena's heart stopped. It was Elder Mirren, the old woman who'd identified Serena's bloodline, who'd helped with the bonding ritual. "No," Serena whispered. Mirren's expression was apologetic. "I'm sorry, child. Truly. But the old ways were dying. This kingdom has forgotten what it means to be wolf, forgotten the power in our blood." "So you decided to kill them?" Serena's voice shook. "To create a plague that destroys shifters." "The plague was meant to be selective," Mirren said. "To purge the weak. Those who couldn't adapt would die. The strong would evolve, become something greater." "They didn't evolve," Serena spat. "They became monsters." "A temporary side effect," Thane said dismissively. "One I'm sure you could fix if you were properly motivated." He snapped his fingers. More mercenaries emerged from the palace, dragging bound prisoners. Serena recognized some of them. Healers, servants, people who'd helped her. And Elara, the little girl Serena had healed just hours ago. Still weak, barely able to stand, held up by a mercenary's rough grip. "Let her go," Serena said. "No." Thane's smile widened. "Not until you do something for me." "I'm not doing anything for you. Not even to save her life?" Thane drew a knife from his belt. "What about their lives?" He gestured to the other prisoners. "Or his." He nodded toward Kaelor. Through the bond, Serena felt Kaelor's consciousness stirring, felt his confusion, his pain, and his fury when he realized what was happening. "Don't," Kaelor's voice in her mind, weak but determined. "Don't give him anything." "He'll kill them," Serena thought back. "He'll kill them anyway. That's who he is." Serena's hands clenched. Kaelor was right. She knew he was right. But looking at Elara's terrified face, she wasn't sure it mattered. "What do you want?" she asked Thane. "Your blood," Thane said simply. "Enough to complete my work, to perfect the transformation." "So you can make more monsters?" "So I can make an army," Thane corrected. one powerful enough to reshape this kingdom, to return us to the old ways when strength meant something. Strength without mercy isn't strength, Serena said. It's just cruelty. Spoken like someone who's never had to fight for survival. Thane's expression hardened. Your answer, Serena. Your blood, or their lives. Serena looked at the prisoners, at Elara, trembling and afraid, at Kylor, still unconscious on the horse, his breathing shallow. She felt the bond between them, fragile and new, felt his strength even now, trying to anchor her, and she made a choice. Okay, she said. Serena, no, Lyra started. Okay, Serena repeated, louder. I'll give you my blood, but you let them go first, all of them. Thane studied her. You're not in a position to negotiate. Neither are you, Serena said. You need me cooperative. Otherwise, whatever you extract won't work right. I've read enough to know that firstborn blood tied to unwilling donors is unstable. She was bluffing. She had no idea if that was true. But Thane's expression flickered, just for a second. He believed her. Fine, he said, but just the girl. The others stay until I have what I need. Serena's jaw tightened. Half of them. A quarter. Half. Or I'll burn myself out right here and you get nothing. Thane's eyes narrowed. Then he laughed. You know, I'm starting to see why Kylor bonded with you. You're almost as ruthless as he is. He gestured, and the mercenaries released 6 prisoners, including Elara. The little girl ran to Serena, throwing her arms around her waist. Serena held her tight, feeling the girl's rapid heartbeat. It's okay, Serena whispered. You're safe now. What about you? Elara's voice was small. I'll be fine. Serena gently pushed the girl toward Lyra. Go with her. Stay close to the warriors. Elara went reluctantly. Thane gestured to a spot in front of him. Come here. Serena walked forward. Each step felt like walking toward an execution. Behind her, she heard Lyra hiss, We can fight! And get everyone killed, one of the warriors muttered back. Serena stopped in front of Thane. He grabbed her wrist, his grip iron tight, and held up a vial. This will hurt, he said, almost conversationally. Then he sliced her forearm open with the knife. Serena gasped. Pain flared bright and sharp. Blood welled up, dark red, dripping into the vial Thane held beneath the wound. Through the bond, she felt Kylor surge toward consciousness, felt his rage. Hold still, Thane said. Serena gritted her teeth. The vial was filling slowly, too slowly. She could feel her power trying to heal the wound, felt Thane's grip tighten to prevent it. Interesting, Thane murmured. Even now the blood fights back. No wonder the corrupted needed so much to sustain the transformation. How much did you take? Serena managed. From whom? From whoever you stole the first sample from. Thane's smile was cold. From your mother. Everything stopped. Serena stared at him. What? How do you think I knew you carried the bloodline? Thane said. I'd been tracking your family for years. Took a sample from your mother when she came to the capital for the harvest festival. She never even knew. You killed her, Serena whispered. No, your king did that. Thane's tone was almost gentle. But I set the stage. I made sure her people would rebel. Made sure they'd be crushed. Why? Because I needed you alone, Thane said. Desperate, easy to capture, easy to control. He'd planned everything. Every moment of suffering, every loss. The rage that flooded through Serena was incandescent, and with it came power. Her blood dripping into the vial began to glow. Thane's eyes widened. What? The vial shattered. Glowing blood sprayed across his hand. He yelped and dropped it, stumbling back. Serena felt the power surge through her veins like lightning. The bond with Kylor amplified it, stabilized it, made it something she could actually wield. She raised her hand. Every corrupted mercenary in the courtyard dropped to their knees, screaming, because half of them weren't actually mercenaries. They were corrupted wolves in human form, hidden, controlled by Thane. And Serena's blood, her power, was burning the corruption out of them. Stop her, Thane shouted. The real mercenaries rushed forward, but Kylor was awake now, barely. He slid off the horse, drawing his sword with shaking hands. Protect her, he rasped. The The palace warriors surged forward, engaging the mercenaries. Serena kept her focus on the corrupted. She could feel them now, the dark magic sustaining them, could feel where it was anchored, to Thane. She looked at him. He was backing away, his face pale. "You can't. The bond isn't strong enough. You'll kill yourself." "Maybe," Serena said. "Let's find out." She reached through the corruption, following it back to its source. It led to Thane, yes, but beyond him. To Marin. To something the Elder had buried in her own chest. A vessel. A container of stolen firstborn blood, corrupted and weaponized. Serena grabbed it with her power and pulled. Marin screamed. The vessel inside her chest shattered. Corrupted blood exploded outward. But Serena was ready. She caught it, burned it, purified it before it could infect anyone else. The corrupted wolves collapsed, the magic sustaining them severed. Marin fell to her knees, coughing blood. "You little fool," she gasped. "That power. It was the only thing keeping me alive." "Then you should have used it differently," Serena said. She turned to Thane. He was trying to run, making for the palace entrance. Kaelor intercepted him. Despite his injuries, despite barely being able to stand, Kaelor moved with lethal precision. His sword caught Thane across the chest, not deep enough to kill but enough to drop him. Thane fell hard, gasping. Kaelor stood over him, breathing hard, his shirt soaked with blood. 10 years, Kaelor said quietly. "I trusted you for 10 years. "You were weak," Thane spat, "too concerned with mercy, with justice. The old ways died for a reason," Kaelor interrupted. "Because they turned us into the monsters everyone feared." He raised his sword. "Wait," Serena said. Kaelor looked at her. "He needs to stand trial," she said, "publicly, so everyone knows what he did. He'll try to escape or buy his way out, or then we make sure he can't." Serena walked over, kneeling beside Thane. She placed her hand on his chest. He tried to jerk away. She held firm. Then she pushed her power in. Not to heal, to mark. She burned a symbol into his chest, just over his heart, a brand of light that sank into his skin, his bones. "What did you do?" Thane gasped. "Insurance," Serena said. "That mark is tied to your life force. If you try to use magic, it'll burn you from the inside. If you try to flee the kingdom, same thing. You're going to stand trial, and you're going to face justice." She stood, swaying slightly. Kaelor caught her elbow. "Are you all right?" "No," Serena said honestly. "But I will be." Around them, the courtyard was chaos. Mercenaries surrendering or fleeing, warriors securing the corrupted who'd survived, healers rushing to help the wounded. Lyra appeared at Serena's side. "That was insane." "Which part?" "All of it." But Lyra was grinning. "Also incredibly impressive." Serena looked at the prisoners Thane had held. They were free now, being tended to by healers. Elara ran up to her again. "You did it!" "We did it," Serena corrected, ruffling the girl's hair. She turned to find Kaelor watching her. His expression was complicated. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For not giving up. On them. On yourself." He paused. "On me." Serena's throat tightened. Through the bond she felt his sincerity, his gratitude, and beneath it something else, something fragile and new, not love, not yet, but the possibility of it. "Don't thank me yet," she said. "We still have work to do." The trial happened 3 days later. The throne room was packed. Every noble, every elder, every warrior who could fit inside. And in the gallery, common people, healers, servants, survivors of the plague. Thane stood in chains at the center of the room, Marin beside him. Serena stood to the side, watching. Kaelor presided over the trial himself, his expression carved from stone. The evidence was presented. Testimony from the captured mercenaries, the corrupted blood samples Serena had analyzed, the documents they'd found in Thane's quarters, detailing years of planning. By the end, there was no doubt. "Counselor Thane," Kaelor said, his voice echoing through the chamber, "you stand accused of treason, murder, conspiracy to commit genocide, and the deliberate spread of a magical plague. How do you plead?" Thane lifted his chin. I did what was necessary to save this kingdom from mediocrity. I'll take that as guilty. Kaler's expression didn't change. Elder Mirren, you stand accused of the same crimes. How do you plead? Mirren said nothing. She looked small now, diminished. The corruption had been eating her alive from the inside. She had maybe weeks left. Also guilty, then. Kaler stood. The sentence is death. To be carried out? Wait, Serena said. The room went silent. Kaler looked at her. Serena? She stepped forward. I want to speak. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Kaler hesitated, then nodded. Serena faced the room. Counselor Thane destroyed my home, she said. He engineered the rebellion that killed my family. He created a plague that's killed hundreds. He deserves to die. More murmurs, some approving. But if we kill him, Serena continued, we learn nothing. He's been planning this for years. He has contacts, resources, knowledge we need, information about other threats. So you want him to live? One of the nobles called out. I want him to be useful, Serena corrected. Lock him in the deepest cell, strip him of rank and privilege. Make him tell us everything he knows. And when we've bled every piece of information from him, then decide his fate. She looked at Kaler. We can't undo what he's done, but we can make sure it never happens again. The room was silent. Kaler studied her for a long moment. Through the bond, she felt his consideration, his respect. The court accepts this proposal, he said finally. Thane will be imprisoned, under constant guard, and he will cooperate fully with our investigation. He looked at Thane. Refuse, and the sentence returns to death immediately. Thane's face twisted with rage, but he nodded. Take him away, Kaler ordered. As the guards dragged Thane out, he looked at Serena. This isn't over, he said. Yes, Serena said quietly. It is. Oh, after the trial, Serena retreated to the gardens. She needed air, space, quiet. She found a bench beneath an old oak tree and sat, closing her eyes. The bond hummed with Kaler's presence. He was somewhere in the palace, handling the aftermath. She could feel his exhaustion matching her own. Mind if I join you? She opened her eyes. Kaler stood a few feet away. It's your garden, Serena said. That's not an answer, she sighed. Fine, sit. He did, leaving space between them. They sat in silence for a while. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. You could have let me kill him, Kaler said eventually. I know. Why didn't you? Serena considered the question. Because I'm tired of death, and because killing him would have been easy. Making him face what he's done, that's harder. Kaler nodded slowly. You're kinder than I am. I'm not kind, Serena said. I'm practical. Dead men can't give us information. Is that the only reason? Serena looked at him, at the man who'd destroyed her world and was now bound to her for life. No, she admitted. I also didn't want you to have to do it. Killing someone you trusted, that would have cost you something. It already has, Kaler said quietly. Through the bond, she felt his grief, his sense of betrayal. Without thinking, she reached over and took his hand. He startled, looking down at their joined hands. I still hate you, Serena said, for what you did, for who you are, for everything. I know, but I don't want you to hurt alone. Kaler's fingers tightened around hers. Thank you. They sat like that as the sun finished setting, two people bound by necessity, by magic, by circumstance, and maybe, eventually, by choice. Look. The next morning, Serena began organizing expeditions to the outer territories. There were still hundreds of plague victims scattered across the kingdom. She couldn't heal them all alone, but she could train others, show healers how to channel her power through the bond, how to cleanse the corruption. It would take months, maybe years. But she had time now. The palace was different too. Word of what she'd done had spread. People who'd looked at her with suspicion now looked with respect, some even with gratitude. Serena wasn't sure how she felt about that. She was in the archives planning the first expedition when Elara found her. You have a visitor, Lyra said. Tell them I'm busy. It's someone from your homeland. Serena's head snapped up. What? A woman. Says she's from the Meyer clan, survived the war. Serena was moving before Lyra finished speaking. She found the woman in one of the receiving rooms. She was maybe 40, weathered and scarred. Serena recognized her, Kira, one of her mother's friends. Kira? Serena's voice cracked. The woman looked up. Tears filled her eyes. Serena, I heard you were here. I had to see for myself. They embraced. Serena felt tears on her own cheeks. I thought everyone was dead, Serena whispered. Most are, Kira said, but some of us survived. We've been hiding, scattered. When we heard about the plague, about what you did, she pulled back, holding Serena at arm's length. You saved them, Kira said. The king's people, after what he did to us. I saved everyone, Serena corrected, because it was the right thing to do. Kira smiled through her tears. Your mother would be proud. Serena's chest tightened. I hope so. She would, Kira insisted, and so am I. You took our greatest pain and turned it into something that heals. That's power no army can match. They talked for hours, about the survivors, about rebuilding, about the future. By the time Kira left, Serena felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. That night, Kaylor found her on the balcony outside her room. I heard you had a visitor, he said. News travels fast. It's a palace. Gossip is our primary industry. He leaned against the railing beside her. How are you? I don't know, Serena said honestly. Better, I think. But also worse. It's complicated. Most things are. They stood in comfortable silence. I've been thinking, Kaylor said, about what comes next. And? I want to rebuild the Eastern Territories, where your people lived. He looked at her. Give the survivors land, resources. Let them come home. Serena's breath caught. Why? Because it's overdue, Kaylor said. And because you were right. I can't undo what I did, but I can try to make it better. Through the bond, she felt his sincerity, his determination. It won't bring them back, she said quietly. No, but it might help the ones who are left. Serena nodded slowly. Okay, let's do it. Kaylor smiled. It was small, but genuine. We make a good team, he said. Don't push your luck, Serena replied, but she was smiling too. Because maybe, against all odds, they did, and maybe that was enough. For now. The expeditions to the Outer Territories began 2 weeks after Thane's trial. Serena led the first one herself, with Lyra and a team of healers who'd been training to channel her power. They rode east, toward the places where the plague had hit hardest. The villages they found were worse than Serena had imagined. Whole families gone, buildings abandoned. The few survivors who remained were hollow-eyed and suspicious. At the first village, an old man actually threw a rock at them. Get out, he shouted. We don't want the king's people here. Serena dismounted slowly, hands visible. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help. Like you helped before? The man spat. When you burned our crops and took our children? That wasn't us, Lyra started. It was the king's people, the man said. All the same. Serena stepped forward. You're right. It was the king's people, and I was one of the ones who lost everything because of it. The man stared at her. What? My name is Serena Meyer, she said. The king destroyed my home too, killed my family. I have every reason to hate him, and I do. But right now, people are dying from a plague that was deliberately created to hurt all of us, and I can help. The man's expression wavered. You don't have to trust the king, Serena continued. You don't have to trust his people. But maybe you can trust someone who's lost as much as you have. There was a long silence. Then the man lowered his rock. We have 6 sick, he said quietly. In the meeting house. Healing them took hours. The corruption had spread deep, settling into bone and tissue. Serena worked through exhaustion, through pain, pushing her power until she thought she'd break. But she didn't break. The bond with Kaylor held her steady. Even from miles away, she could feel his strength flowing through the connection, anchoring her. When the last patient was clean, Serena collapsed against a wall, breathing hard. Lyra pressed a water skin into her hands. You need to rest. We have 3 more villages to reach. Not today, we don't. Lyra's tone left no room for argument. You're dead on your feet. We camp here tonight. Serena wanted to protest, but Lyra was right. She was running on fumes. That night, sitting around a fire in the village square, the old man approached her again. Thank you, he said gruffly. Serena looked up. You're welcome. My daughter was one of the sick. She's herself again. His voice cracked. I didn't think I'd ever see that. I'm glad I could help. The man hesitated. Then he said, maybe the king isn't all bad if he has someone like you working for him. I don't work for him, Serena said. I work with him. There's a difference. The man nodded slowly. Fair enough. He walked away and Serena felt something shift. Not in him, in herself. For the first time since this all started, she felt like she was doing something that mattered. Not because she had to. Not because she'd been forced. Because she'd chosen it. They spent 3 weeks in the outer territories, moving from village to village, healing the sick, training local healers, building trust. Word spread. By the second week, people were coming to them. By the third, some villages were actually sending messengers ahead to request their help. It wasn't forgiveness. The wounds ran too deep for that. But it was progress. When they finally returned to the palace, Serena was exhausted but satisfied. She'd healed over 200 people, trained 30 healers, and she'd seen in the eyes of survivors the first flickers of hope. Kaelor met them in the courtyard. He looked tired too. He'd been dealing with the political fallout of Thane's betrayal, rooting out other conspirators, rebuilding trust with the council. How did it go? He asked. Better than expected, Serena said. Worse than hoped. That seems to be the theme lately. He glanced at the healers. Did they learn? Some more than others, but yes. Kaelor nodded. Good. Because we have a problem. Serena's stomach sank. What now? The southern territories are refusing to cooperate with plague relief efforts. They're claiming it's a northern problem and demanding independence. They can't actually think that'll work. They don't, Kaelor said. But they're posturing, testing to see if we're weak. Are we? Kaelor smiled faintly. Not anymore. The Southern Territory delegation arrived 3 days later, led by a woman named Essa Karn. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed and sharper-tongued, with the kind of presence that filled a room. The meeting took place in the throne room. Serena attended, standing to the side while Kaelor presided. Your Majesty, Essa said, her tone just shy of mocking. Thank you for seeing us. Of course, Kaelor said evenly. What can I do for you? You can stop sending your people into our territories uninvited, Essa said. We don't need your healers. We don't need your protection. We're perfectly capable of managing our own affairs. Even when your people are dying of plague, Serena asked. Essa's gaze swung to her. And you are? Serena Meyer. I'm the one leading those healing efforts you're complaining about. Ah, the firstborn. Essa's expression was unreadable. I've heard about you, the prisoner who became the king's savior. I'm nobody's savior, Serena said. I'm just trying to keep people alive. Noble, but unnecessary in the South. We've developed our own methods. What methods? Kaelor asked. Essa hesitated, just for a second, but it was enough. You don't have methods, Serena said. You're quarantining the sick and letting them die. We're protecting the healthy, Essa shot back, which is more than can be said for your approach. How many of your healers have been infected trying to cure the sick? None, Serena said, because we know what we're doing. Do you? Essa stepped forward. Or are you just experimenting with power you don't understand, hoping for the best? I understand it well enough to have saved hundreds of lives, Serena said. How many have you saved? The room went quiet. Essa's jaw tightened. The South will not be dictated to by a failed rebellion's last survivor and a king who can't even control his own council. Careful. Kaelor's voice was soft. Dangerous. You're addressing your queen. Everyone froze, so Serena's head snapped toward Kaelor. What? The bond makes you queen, Kaelor said, his eyes still on Essa. Whether you claim the title or not. And when you speak with the authority of the throne. Essa's face had gone pale. Serena felt like the ground had dropped out from under her. Kaelor, it's true, Elder Mirren's replacement, an older man named Rowan, spoke up from the council. An alpha bond to a firstborn creates a co-rulership. It's tradition, law. Serena's mind raced. She'd known the bond was permanent, had known it tied them together, but she hadn't realized it made her this. I don't want to be queen, she said. That's unfortunate, Kaelor said, because you already are. He looked back at Essa. So I'll ask again. Will the South cooperate with plague relief, or will we need to take other measures? Essa looked between them. Then slowly, she inclined her head. We'll cooperate, she said stiffly. But we want assurances. Healers who answer to us, not the crown. Done, Serena said before Kaelor could respond. We'll train your people, give you the tools. You manage distribution. Essa blinked. Just like that? Just like that. Serena stepped forward. I don't care about politics. I care about keeping people alive. If you can do that better with local control, then that's what we'll do. Essa studied her for a long moment. Then her expression softened slightly. You really don't want power, do you? She said. Not even a little bit, Serena said. That's refreshing. Essa nodded. All right, we have an agreement. Chant. After the delegation left, Serena cornered Kaelor in his study. Queen? She said. Yes. You could have warned me. I could have, Kaelor agreed, but you would have argued, and we didn't have time for that. So you ambushed me instead. I gave you the authority you've already been wielding, Kaelor corrected. You've been making decisions that affect the entire kingdom. Negotiating with territory leaders, commanding resources. You might as well have the title to go with it. Serena wanted to be angry, but she couldn't quite manage it, because he was right. She had been doing those things, and having the official authority would make them easier. I still hate you, she said. I know, Kaelor said, but you hate me slightly less than you did 2 months ago. I'll take that as progress. Despite herself, Serena smiled. Through the bond, she felt his amusement, his affection. That was new, the affection. She wasn't sure what to do with it yet. Come on, Kaelor said, standing. There's something I want to show you. He led her outside the palace, through gardens and past training yards, to a section of the grounds Serena had never seen before. There was a building there, or the skeleton of one. Construction was clearly underway, workers hammering, sawing, hauling materials. What is this? Serena asked. A hospital, Kaelor said, for plague treatment and research. I'm having it built here, in the capital, but there will be others, in every major territory. Serena's breath caught. You're serious? Very. He walked her closer. You've proven this plague can be cured. Now we need infrastructure to support that cure. Places where healers can train, where patients can be treated safely, where we can study the corruption and learn how to prevent it from happening again. That's going to cost a fortune. Yes, Kaelor said, which is why I'm redirecting funds from the military budget. We'll still maintain defense, but we're shifting priorities. The nobles will hate that. Let them. Kaelor looked at her. You've changed things, Serena. Not just by healing people, by showing us that there's a better way, that strength isn't just about who you can conquer, it's about who you can save. Serena's throat tightened. I didn't do this alone. No, Kaelor agreed. You did it with me, whether you wanted to or not. She looked up at him. At this man who'd destroyed her world and was now trying to rebuild it. I don't forgive you, she said quietly, for what you did to my people. I don't know if I ever will. I'm not asking you to, Kaelor said, but I don't hate you as much as I should. She took a breath. And maybe that's enough. For now. Kaelor's hand found hers, their fingers interlaced. It's more than enough, he said. 6 months later, Serena stood in the Eastern Territories, watching as the first foundations were laid for New Mire. The survivors had come home, all 237 of them, plus others who'd been scattered across the kingdom. They'd been given land, resources, the right to govern themselves within the kingdom's framework. Kira stood beside Serena, tears streaming down her face. I never thought I'd see this day. Neither did I, Serena admitted. The village was small, modest, nothing like what had been lost. But it was theirs. And it was a start. Your mother would be so proud, Kira said. Serena thought about her mother, about her father, about everyone she'd lost. She would never stop missing them. The grief would always be there, but it no longer defined her. I hope so, Serena said. Kaylor approached from where he'd been speaking with the construction coordinator. Everything all right? Yes, Serena said, and meant it. He smiled and took her hand. The bond between them was stronger now, deeper. What had started as necessity had become something else. Not quite love? Not yet. But something close. Something real. Ready to head back? He asked. Serena looked at the village one more time, at her people, rebuilding their lives from ashes. Yeah, she said. Let's go home. The coronation happened on the first anniversary of the bonding. Serena had argued against it, had insisted she didn't need a formal ceremony to do the work she was already doing. But Kaylor had been insistent, and the council had backed him up. The people need to see it, Rowan had said, need to see that the kingdom has changed, that we're building something new. So Serena had relented. The ceremony took place in the same throne room where she'd been dragged in chains a year ago, but it looked different now, lighter. The banners had been changed, the harsh torchlight replaced with windows that let in natural sun. The room was packed. Nobles, warriors, healers, common people who'd traveled from across the kingdom to witness this. Serena wore a gown, simple, dark blue, nothing too elaborate. She'd refused a crown, settled for a silver circlet instead. She stood beside Kaylor in front of the throne, facing the crowd. Elder Rowan stepped forward, carrying a ceremonial staff. 1 year ago, he began, Serena Meyer came to this palace as a prisoner, condemned to die for the crimes of her people. But she proved herself to be something none of us expected. Not a prisoner, not an enemy, a healer, a leader, a queen. He turned to Serena. Do you swear to protect this kingdom, to serve its people, to uphold justice and mercy in equal measure? Serena looked out at the crowd, at faces she knew, people she'd healed, saved, fought beside. I swear, she said. Then by the power vested in me by tradition and law, I recognize you as Queen of the Northern Territories, co-ruler with King Kaylor Virex. May your reign bring healing to a wounded land. The crowd erupted in cheers. Serena felt overwhelmed, unworthy, terrified. But through the bond, she felt Kaylor's steady presence, his certainty. And she realized something. She wasn't alone in this. She'd never been alone. The bond had given her more than power. It had given her partnership, support, someone who understood the weight she carried because he carried it too. Kaylor took her hand and raised it high. The cheers grew louder. Serena looked at him, at the man she'd hated, still partly hated, but also respected, trusted, maybe even loved in the complicated way that came from shared trauma and hard-won understanding. You all right? He asked quietly, under the noise. No, she said honestly, but I will be. Together? He asked. Serena squeezed his hand. Together, she agreed. Later that night, after the celebration had died down, Serena stood on the balcony of what was now her quarters. The city sprawled below her, lights twinkling in the darkness. Somewhere out there were the hospitals they'd built, the villages they'd saved, the people who were alive because she'd chosen to help instead of holding on to hatred. Lyra found her there. Hey, Lyra said, you disappeared. Needed air. Big day. Understatement. Serena leaned on the railing. A year ago, I wanted to die. Wanted them all to die. And now you're queen of the people you once called enemies, Lyra finished. Life's weird like that. That's one way to put it. They stood in comfortable silence. Do you regret it? Lyra asked. The bond? Everything that came after? Serena considered the question, really considered it. A year ago, she would have said yes without hesitation. Now? No, she said. I don't regret it. I regret that it was necessary. I regret everything that led to it, but the bond itself, the choice to save people even when I didn't want to, I don't regret that. That's growth, Lyra said. Or Stockholm Syndrome. Lyra laughed. Maybe both. Kaelor appeared in the doorway. Am I interrupting? Always, Serena said, but she was smiling. Lyra took the hint and left. Kaelor joined Serena at the railing. You handled today well. I didn't throw up or run away, so I'm calling it a win. Low bar. I'm working my way up. He laughed quietly. Then his expression turned serious. I meant what I said during the ceremony. About being grateful you're here. I know. Serena looked at him. I can feel it through the bond. Does that bother you, that I can't hide what I feel from you? Sometimes, Serena admitted, but it goes both ways. You feel everything I feel too. The grief, the anger, the slowly fading hatred. It is fading, Kaelor said. Not a question. Yeah, Serena said. It is. I don't know if it'll ever go away completely, but it's not the only thing I feel anymore when I look at you. What else do you feel? Serena turned to face him fully. Frustration? Because you're stubborn. Respect. Because despite everything, you're trying to be better. And something else I'm not ready to name yet. Fair enough. Kaelor reached up, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. I can wait. Through the bond, Serena felt his patience, his acceptance, his willingness to let her come to him in her own time. And she felt something in herself shift. Not forgiveness. Not quite. But the beginning of it. She leaned up and kissed him. It was tentative, uncertain. The first real choice she'd made about their physical connection that wasn't driven by necessity or ritual. Kaelor went very still, then his arms came around her, careful and gentle. When they pulled apart, he was looking at her with something like wonder. What was that for, he asked. Because I wanted to, Serena said. And because maybe, eventually, this can be more than just survival. Maybe it can actually be something good. I'd like that, Kaelor said softly. So would I. Serena settled against his chest, looking out at the city again. We have a lot of work ahead. Rebuilding, healing, making sure what Thane did never happens again. We'll manage, Kaelor said. We've already done the impossible. What's that? Turned enemies into allies, prisoners into queens, hatred into possibility. Serena smiled. When you put it that way, the rest seems easy. I wouldn't go that far. No, Serena agreed, but we'll figure it out. Together. The word felt right, final. She'd come here in chains, carrying nothing but rage and grief. She was leaving. No, not leaving. Staying. But staying as someone new. As a queen, a healer, a partner. As someone who'd taken the worst thing that ever happened to her and turned it into the best thing she'd ever done. The kingdom below was far from perfect. There were still wounds to heal, divisions to bridge, years of work ahead. But for the first time since she'd lost everything, Serena felt something she hadn't thought she'd ever feel again. Hope. Not the desperate, fragile kind that shattered at the first setback, but the strong, steady kind that came from fighting through darkness and finding light on the other side. She looked up at Kaelor, at the man who'd destroyed her world and helped her build a new one. Thank you, she said. For what? For being stubborn enough not to give up on me, even when I gave up on myself. Kaelor's arms tightened around her. Always. And standing there, wrapped in his warmth, connected by a bond that had once felt like a curse and now felt like something close to fate, Serena finally understood. She'd come here a prisoner, but she was leaving a queen, not because someone had given her a crown or a title, but because she'd earned it. Through suffering, through choice, through the hardest work she'd ever done, learning to see past her own pain and heal others. The future stretched ahead, uncertain and challenging. But whatever came, she wouldn't face it alone. And that made all the difference. Meet. 5 years later, Serena stood in the central square of the capital, watching as delegates from every territory gathered for the annual Healing Summit. The plague had been eradicated 2 years ago, but the hospitals remained, repurposed for general care and training. The kingdom had more healers now than ever before, and the techniques Serena had developed were being taught across the known world. She was older now, 28. Lines were starting to form at the corners of her eyes from squinting at too many medical texts. But she was happy. Kaylor appeared at her elbow, their daughter balanced on his hip. Mira was 3 years old, with her mother's dark hair and her father's gray eyes. "Mama!" Mira reached for Serena. Serena took her, settling the toddler on her hip. "Hey, baby, you being good for Papa?" "She tried to heal a bird," Kaylor said, amused. "With questionable results." "The bird's fine," Mira insisted. "Just surprised." Through the bond, Serena felt Kaylor's love, his contentment, the deep satisfaction of a life well lived. She felt the same. It hadn't been easy. There had been setbacks, political fights, territories that resisted change. But slowly, steadily, they'd built something new. A kingdom where strength meant more than conquest, where healing was valued as much as warfare, where the old hatreds were giving way to new possibilities. Kira approached, older now but still vibrant. "The Eastern delegation is here. They're asking for you." "Both of us?" Serena asked. "Just you," Kira said. "They have some kind of proposal." Serena handed Mira back to Kaylor and followed Kira to where the Eastern delegates waited. They were young, the generation that had grown up in New Mire, that had never known the old world. "Your Majesty," their leader said, "a young woman named Senna. We wanted to thank you for everything you've done." "You don't need to thank me," Serena said. "We do," Senna insisted. "Because of you, we have homes, futures, lives worth living." She held out a package wrapped in cloth. Serena unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a banner, deep blue, with silver threading, the symbol of the Mire clan, combined with the royal crest. "We want this to fly over New Mire," Senna said, "as a reminder of where we came from and where we're going." Serena's eyes burned with tears. "It's beautiful. So is what you've built," Senna said. "Thank you for not giving up. On us. On yourself. On the possibility that broken things can be made whole again." Serena looked at the banner. At the symbol of two worlds joined, enemy and ally, prisoner and queen, past and future, all of it woven together into something new. "No," she said quietly. "Thank you for reminding me why it was worth it." She looked up, across the square to where Kaylor stood with their daughter, to the hospitals, the healers, the people who'd once hated her and now called her queen, to the life she'd built from the ashes of the old one, and she smiled, because she'd learned something in these 5 years, something that all the books and all the magic could never have taught her, that the strongest bonds weren't the ones forced by circumstance or ritual. They were the ones chosen, again and again, in small moments and large ones, the choice to heal instead of harm, to build instead of destroy, to love instead of hate. She'd come here in chains, but she'd walked out free, not because the chains had been removed, but because she'd learned that freedom wasn't about the absence of bonds. It was about choosing which ones to keep, and she'd chosen this. All of it. The kingdom. The work. The man. The life she'd never imagined she'd want, and she would choose it again, every single day, for as long as she lived.